All right.
Good.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I'm going to cover a little bit about the state of the industry, some of the data that we're looking at that puts today into context, and then I'll walk through actually some of the things that we have going on today that I think will be really helpful and interesting for everyone to take part of. I just have to say it's amazing to see so many people that I've met over the years, so really, thank you guys for being here. For those who don't know me, I'm the president of Navan, so I've been here for a little over 10 years, and I'm kind of integrated throughout a lot of the different functions and people throughout the company. I'm kind of Navan through and through, and I'm sure you guys know that if you've met me or will see that when you meet me. So before we get into it, this is a disclaimer for the whole day. We will make forward-looking statements about products, the industry, all of this kind of stuff. So because we're public now, we have to talk about this. So I'm sure everyone finished reading by now. So first I want to start off with who's actually in the room. And it's a really, really powerful room. This is like a limited thing. We didn't want to invite everybody in the world. So the people that are invited and who are with us today are pretty special. So we have 322 customers, people who are using Navan products every single day. We have 138, I would say, not yet customers. I think everyone will be a customer eventually, and so we thank you for checking us out. Today's not a sales pitch. Today is about meeting other people in the industry, understanding what we're building, what we're working on, what things we know that we need to improve to keep on building, and so I hope you see a lot of that today. And as Ariel mentioned, 57 different suppliers and partners. We're an ecosystem, and none of this stuff works without the help of our partners that are delivering the various products and services and integrations for us. So major, major thank you to the partnerships, and you can see all their booths here. They have really, really cool swag that I was checking out this morning. When it comes to actually how much volume this room kind of maintains, from the customers that are here, there were $2 billion of flights, hotels, and car rental spend over the last 12 months. 2 million total flight and hotel bookings, and about 5 million individual expense transactions. So lots of interesting data points that we can gather, and a very powerful room. I think you guys have probably all seen this, but the travel industry is resilient, and the travel industry, business travel industry, is growing. So the expectation is to reach $2.9 trillion globally by 2029. So I think today it was 1.7 going to 2.3, growing to 2.9. So it's an industry that continues to grow, and people see the value of getting employees on the road, connecting, building relationships, meeting each other, and it's a lot about what we're going to talk about throughout the course of today and how we enable it. So it's interesting because, when we started the company, we were obviously very small. We didn't have a lot of data to go by. But we're sitting in a space today where Navan has so much volume that we can start to get really interesting insights that help people to manage and drive their programs more effectively. So a stat that I like to monitor and look at, because I do this flight all the time, but on any given flight from Newark to San Francisco, we have on average 6 travelers that use Navan to book that trip. What you also see is there's about 40 business travelers, 40 to 50, that are on any given Newark to SFO trip, which means that we're understanding 15% of the actual volume that's coming through from business travel. So that gives you an idea of about the scale of the data that we have to be able to leverage. We've also done a survey and a study with Skift for the past 7 years in a row, where we interviewed thousands and thousands of travel managers, expense managers, and business travelers. And what we've seen is that business travel of these customers that we have grown by 41% over the last 3 years. And that's because people are growing, businesses are growing, there's price increases, there's expensive oil these days, but we see that it is getting more and more expensive, and people are prioritizing being on the road, especially after the COVID pandemic, where travel was kind of supposed to never happen again. And 85% of business travelers actually said that they expect to spend or travel more in 2026 than 2025. 85%, which is a very, very large number. We think that more and more people will continue to prioritize getting out there on the road. And so when we think about the sentiment, so we also test the sentiment of the responders, 90% said that business travel, these are travel managers, said business travel is essential. It's up 8% year over year, so people are feeling that it's more and more important these days. 84% said that meeting in person is always more effective than meeting over a Zoom or a phone call. The keyword is always, so it's a pretty strong statement to say that from 84% of the people, which is up 5% from last year. And the frequency of a business traveler we see increasing. So 48% of business travelers took 6 or more trips over the past 12 months, which is up 40% from 2024 and 2025. So more people taking more trips more frequently. And Ariel talked a little bit about this, but I think it's really interesting what happened in this winter. If you need a case study on the resiliency of business travel, obviously we came back after COVID, but this winter was really a perfect storm. And when we think about what happened in winter, there were storms Fern and Hernando, which were really, really, really large, like some of the biggest, most catastrophic storms that we've seen over the last 50 years, which should have impacted business travel. We saw increasing TSA wait times with partial government shutdowns, TSA agents being overworked, and it was impacting the lines across the country and the world. We saw airspace closures in the Middle East, right, which caused more and more disruptions. And we also saw, with that, rising fuel and ticket prices. So you have basically everything across the supply chain is getting more expensive, undoable, long lines, and it should have really, really impacted business travel. What we saw at Navan actually was changes were way up, obviously. People were changing their flights all the time. But cancellations were actually exactly in line with what we would expect with normal seasonality. So what that meant is people were struggling to get on the road, but they were still doing it. And they were still making sure that they could go on their trips, meet their customers, meet their employees, and prioritizing it. In fact, actually the Navan flight bookings grew on a same-store sale from year to year for this winter. So really, really interesting to see that it's very resilient. Now, we don't believe at Navan that there should be this excuse that, hey, there's stuff happening in the world and therefore we can't support you. Your travelers, your people that are on the road, that need to do expenses, need to get cards, need to be able to change their trips. And we'll talk a lot today about AI and how we're using it. But what happened is we have an AI agent named Ava. We saw 82% spike in chat volume during the closures, during those couple days, during the storms, during the closures. And Ava handled more than 30,000 chats, resolved 55% of them automatically without needing to have human intervention, and received human-level CSAT support scores from the people that Ava was supporting. And that's really cool because customers now can still spend minutes or seconds on hold, not hours, right? And that's one thing, but what Ava allows us to do as we continue to scale our support organization is it allows the humans to be able to support the most complex cases. And one story that really, really resonated with me is we had a very large multinational semiconductor company. And this company had 3 travelers that were stuck in the UAE. And they sent a note about Connie. So Connie is one of our expert VIP travel consultants saying she's been an angel sent from above. There are no other words to describe how incredible, hardworking, and amazing she has been. And our support agent, yeah, I guess we wrapped that up. Connie was spending, days, nights, for days on end, changing, canceling, over 30 changes and cancellations for these 3 travelers, really maneuvering, I would say, the complex airline waivers and refunds and being able to apply the credits. And I think that's actually the beauty of us being able to leverage the AI support, is because what it does is it allows humans to be able to handle the very complex stuff that we all have to deal with in this industry and be able to make happy travelers. During this entire time, our CSAT actually remained consistent. So storms, shutdowns, lots of things, to be able to maintain a consistent CSAT where travelers are extremely happy with the service we give them is what keeps us very, very excited and continuing to go. So what you're going to hear a little bit about today, I get the really fun job, actually, it's the favorite part of my job, of talking to many customers, many prospects, trying to understand what people are focused on and how we can help, and that helped curate the agenda that we have for today. So what we're going to do is talk through kind of some of the themes. So first and foremost, I think it's very clear that there are so many people here with curiosity, first and foremost by themselves, about how we can leverage AI to automate a lot of tasks. How do we leverage AI to be more smarter, get more insights, understanding what's going on with our programs. And we also hear it from top down. I think all of you are obviously working at a company. I'm sure the CEO and the board is saying all day long, use AI, use AI, use AI. So what does that mean? And we're going to have a product keynote from Elon. Funny story, Elon was just in a press article where he said that when generative AI came out, I think he went into a dark room in a corner and was building for days on end, and he said he lost 8 pounds. And you'll see Elon, he's very skinny, and so it's actually a true story. But that's going to be incredible. I was reading the slides. We also have product keynotes, so we're going to be talking about how we're leveraging AI across our travel, expense, and payments products. And I believe we're announcing a couple really interesting features that I think will help a lot of you guys with managing the programs. And we also have a breakout session on the future of finance, so being able to leverage AI in your finance operations. Another big theme is that people want to be on the road more together, and we actually see a big increase in group events and meetings. Whether that's, okay, I hired a lot of people remotely, and now I do quarterly on-sites, or I'm starting to do events. I mean, we're doing Navigate, we brought it back ourselves, and we believe that that will continue to grow. And we also think that a lot of programs use separate systems to be able to manage that. So we are very focused on building a really nice meetings and events products and offering to bring everything into one platform. So you'll see a lot about that at the Meetings and Events Lounge. And then lastly is about expenses. Expenses are tedious, they take up a lot of time. Travelers have to spend tons of hours on the weekends or during their work week to file expense reports. And there's a lot of manual reconciliation and processes that go with expenses. And so we're going to be talking a lot about that in our product keynote and also in our breakout session around working smarter and closing faster. So, I've been here, as Ariel mentioned, for 10 years. This is actually a photo, it's a Snapchat that I sent to my girlfriend on my first day of working at Navan. And I was like, look at this, I have to build my desk. And that was our office building in Mountain View. There's like 5 other desks. There's a little less than 10 people at the company. And I've been living and breathing in this industry now for a little over 10 years. It's been incredible to partner with a lot of you guys that I now know personally and can call friends over the last 10 years. We obviously hit a big milestone last year, but what I can tell you is after understanding this company for a long time, there's never been more energy from our team, from our company, and from our customers about how we can work together and continue to transform the space. And I just want to thank you so much for this day. And I hope everyone really enjoys the party tonight. So with that, I'll pass it over to Ofer and customer panel. Thank you.